This next episode of Overlooked History is about the Cardiff Giant, called America's Greatest Hoax. In 1867, cigar maker George Hull got into an argument with a preacher over a reference in the Bible's book of Genesis about giants. After the argument, Hull wondered if he could fool the preacher, and the rest of America, with a fake petrified giant. First he traveled to Fort Dodge, Iowa, to find a large enough block of gypsum for the giant. He sent it to Chicago, where Hull posed as the giant's model. It took almost 2 years and $3,000 to make the giant. It was 10 feet tall and weighed 3,000 pounds. After the giant was completed, Hull needed a place for burial. He asked a cousin, William Newell, if the giant could be buried on its Cardiff, New York farm. Newell agreed, and the giant was shipped and buried near the barn in November 1868. Hull returned to his cigar business, with the giant safe underground. 1 year later, he sent a letter to his cousin, asking him to start the process of its excavation. Workers were hired to dig a well at the site, and quickly found a stone foot. News spread across the town, and soon the entire giant was excavated. Many believed it was an ancient giant, though some speculated it was carved by French missionaries 200 years earlier. Newell began selling 50-cent tickets to visit the Cardiff Giant. Hull arrived days later, and the two sold the giant for $30,000 to entrepreneurs. Many scientists came to investigate, and some were skeptical about its supposed origins. Once it was uncovered, a large box, big enough to ship a 10-foot giant, had arrived at Newell's farm the year before. The possibility of it being ancient was becoming more and more unlikely. Even despite this, P.T. Barnum attempted to buy the giant, but was turned down. Instead, he created a replica. Others realized the immense opportunity and made their own forgeries of what had already been recognized as a fake. By 1870, Hull was publicly admitting it was a hoax. It remained on display for a decade, but eventually people lost interest. It was placed in a barn, and today it is on display in Cooperstown, New York. George Hull later attempted a similar stunt in Colorado, but the public knew better than that. The Cardiff Giant remains one of America's most unusual hoaxes. Thank you.